I'm Steve Iliffe. I'm Professor of Primary Care for Older People at University College London. I was a general practitioner for many years, and then I moved on to doing research into community-based responses to people with dementia. Why does dementia have an identity crisis? Because there's been a huge focus on the biological mechanisms that seem to be causing changes in the brain that produce the behaviour that we call dementia. But those studies have not really produced any effective way of helping people with dementia. We've been waiting 20 years for the medication that will modify the disease process, but there's still nothing really in sight. And so we should think again, have we got it right about this condition? Is it more like a disability than a disease? A disability is the gap between what you can do and what the environment demands of you. If we think of it that way, it becomes easier to do things in dementia. You can alter the person's ability, you can also alter the environmental demand. And so in theory, you may be able to reduce the disability of dementia to very little. What we do need to understand is that there are multiple causes for the changes that occur in the brain that seem to cause dementia. There isn't one disease process, there are many things happening, and there's a balance of positive protective things and negative destructive things that accumulate over a long period of time, probably from childhood onwards, possibly from before birth onwards, but certainly from childhood onwards. And so if we understand it that way, then we can see where we can intervene and do something to change the risk of getting dementia in later life. I think if you think of accumulating damage over time, that gives you a clue about what's happening, that we all experience damage of one sort or another as we grow and develop. And some of that damage is visible, but most of it's invisible. It's occurring inside the organs of the body. The one we know most about actually is the heart, and most preventive efforts have been directed at reducing heart disease, but interestingly they seem to reduce brain disease too. They seem to be protective to the brain. So I think that's the secret here, is understanding this accumulation of damage over time. It means that dementia is a disability, but it's a disability that develops across the course of a life. Thinking that way also helps you to see what you can do to prevent dementia. So there are things that can be done with teenagers, there are things that can be done with adults in the middle phase of life, and there are things that can be done with older people who are closer to the high-risk age groups, as it were. The important thing here is to think in terms of how we accumulate damage and how we recover and repair from that damage over a long period of time.